Hey everyone, welcome to the video. I am Subhamay Chattaraj and you are watching Xtropy. So let us have a small look at what's ahead. We have a small introduction to the topic, a little insight to our calculus journey, and differentiation in detail and integration shall be covered in the next video. So basically what is calculus? Let us have a small intro of it. In the same way, geometry is the study of shapes and algebra is the study of generalization of arithmetic operations. Calculus is the mathematical study of continuous change. Modern calculus was developed in the 17th century by Sir Isaac Newton and Leibniz independently. Calculus basically has two major branches, namely differential calculus and integral calculus. The former one concerns with the instantaneous rate of change, finding slopes, and the later one concerns with accumulation of quantities and finding the area under curve. So now let us have a small look into differential calculus. The primary object of study in differential calculus is the derivative of any function and their applications. In the high school level physics we learn differential calculus has many applications. For instance, v equals to ds by dt. Yes, v is the velocity. So you must be thinking that in the previous classes we have learned these three equations of motion of finding velocity, acceleration, displacement, etc. So why have new formulas? Well, those three formulas which you have learnt in your previous classes have a certain limitation attached to them. That is, the acceleration must be constant. But when it comes to calculus, there is no such limitations because it gives you instantaneous rate of change of anything you want. So v equals to ds by dt, a equals to dv by dt, f equals to dp by dt, and the list goes on. So now let us have a small look into integral calculus as well. To find the area under curve, solving questions of center of mass, solving questions of moment of inertia, or finding average of anything, like suppose finding average current in the chapter alternating current, it has several uses. The uses are endless and we are just beginning to see the miracle of calculus. So without any further ado, let's begin. To have a better feel of the topic we are going to study ahead in detail, let us first look into the geometrical meaning of derivative. So, here we have considered a function y equals to fx in a rectangular coordinate system. Right. We also consider a point P with coordinates x, y, and we also consider another point with coordinate x plus h and corresponding to that f of x plus h. So currently we see that the line PQ cuts the curve into 2 points. So it is a secant line. If you find the slope of this line using the formula we have learnt earlier in junior classes, that y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1, so the slope will be something like this: f of x plus h minus f of x by x plus h minus x. So if you cancel this to x, it boils down to f of x plus h minus fx by h. So now if you look very closely into this is your x plus h. If the value of h tends to 0, then x plus h will tend to x. That is, this point Q will slowly shift to point P, and then this slope of point A, then the slope of line PQ, which is a secant now, will transform into the slope of a line which is tangent to the curve at a given point P. A tangent touches the curve only at a single point. Suppose this is point P, it will touch the curve at this single point, and the angle which it makes with the x-axis, let us name that angle theta. The dy by dx will give you tan theta. If you consider this increment in the value of y as del y, and if you consider this increment in the value of x as del x, then if limit del x tends to 0, then you can write as del y by del x will be transformed to dy by dx. dy by dx means a small change. Dx is a very small change. If the value of h tends to 0, then x plus then the change in x plus h to x is known as dx. It is a very infinitesimal small change. So if this is a tangent line and if you find dy by dx at this point p, then it will give you the value of tan theta. We also have a first principle in differentiation, which is f dash x equals to limit h tends to 0 f of x plus h minus fx by h. This is actually the slope of the tangent PQ. This secant becomes a tangent only if h tends to 0. This point Q will shift to point P and it will approach point P, and this secant will slowly transform to a tangent. Means suppose currently the line is like this, slowly it will come closer and closer and merge at a single point, that is it will touch only at a single point. This is the transformation from a secant to a tangent. So this is a small overview of the geometrical meaning of differentiation. Further we are going to continue how to differentiate things actually in higher classes, that is in class 12, in the chapter of limit continuity differentiability. We will have a deeper look into the topic of geometrical meaning of differentiation, when a function is differentiable, when it is not, etc. For the current video, we will be studying about how to differentiate things. Let's continue. Initially, you saw a list of 20 formulas on your screen. But when you will be beginning your calculus journey, those 20 formulas are overwhelming. They seem to be quite many. So I have sorted out these 10 formulas which are going to be the part and parcel of your calculus journey. Even if you are just beginning with your journey in calculus, these 10 formulas can also seem little bit overwhelming. So I have sorted out even further and I have ticked them, like the differentiation of x power n, the differentiation of constant is 0. This is quite obvious because the value of constant does not change. The differentiation of sin x, cos x, and the differentiation of ln x, and the differentiation of e power x. Let me tell you that if you are going to remember these 10 formulas, once you are obviously going to do so, but initially you may not. But when you will do so, you will be confused that where to put the minus, where to not put the minus, and what to do. But let me tell you that the differentiation of the things that begin with C usually have the minus sign. Like you can see the differentiation of cos x has a minus sign, the differentiation of cosec x has a minus sign, the differentiation of cot x also has a minus sign, but the other differentiations usually don't have minus sign. So this is a kind of trick to remember which all formulas have a minus sign in front of them. You can derive each formula with the first principle method, or also known as the ab initio method, but it will be very tedious to derive it always. So it is quite practical, and everyone usually remembers at least a basic set of formulas to begin their journey of calculus. To begin our journey in differentiation, these are the three basic rules we need to keep in mind. The first one being used for the addition or subtraction of functions. The second one is known as the product rule, where two functions are multiplied, and the third one is known as the quotient rule, where there is a division of two functions. These three rules are very basic and are used extensively in the further cases of differentiation. Now let us look at the example of the first rule, that is the rule for addition and subtraction of functions. So this is the first example. In this, we need to differentiate y with respect to x, where y is, suppose x to the power 5 plus sin x. It is told to you that find dy by dx. So here we will be differentiating with respect to x. With the respect of what you are differentiating is a point of concern in differentiation. So if you differentiate it, you have to differentiate both the side with respect to x. dy by dx equals to dy by dx of x to the power 5 plus sin x. So as I told you in the rule before, that if there is an addition or subtraction, the differentiation gets shifted to each of them separately. Like it will become the differentiation of x to the power 5 plus the differentiation of sin x. Now for the differentiation of x to the power 5, we need to remember the first formula we have learned, that d by dx of x to the power n equals to n into x to the power n minus 1. So here n is 5, therefore 5 will come here and x will have a power of 5 minus 1 plus differentiation of sin x is cos x. So this will become cos x. So the final result is 5x to the power 4 plus cos x. This is your answer for the question above. Now let's see the example number 2. The example number 2 is the question that if y equals to sin x minus cos x, find dy by dx. So we will differentiate both the sides with respect to x. Dy by dx equals to d by dx sin x minus cos x. Now as per the first rule, the differentiation will get separated over here, that is it will be differentiation of sin x minus differentiation of cos x. Now as we saw earlier that the differentiation of sin x is cos x, therefore this will become cos x minus, and we saw that the differentiation of cos x is minus sin x, so a minus sin x. Now when you will open this bracket, this minus and minus will convert to a plus and it will become cos x plus sin x. So this is the answer to the question above. Now let us see another example of the same rule, that is example number 3. Suppose the question is find dy by dx and the y given is x plus 3x plus 5x up to, let us say, 29x. Okay, so we need to find the sum of this. Now you may add this manually also, that 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7 plus 9, all the odd numbers up to 29, or you may use the knowledge of AP. But I will tell you another formula to add odd numbers. The formula is, suppose you have let us say 3 consecutive odd numbers, 1, 3, 5. So if you add this, what you will get? 1 plus 3 plus 5, and how many terms are there? 3. So 3 square equals to 9. The same will work if you take 4 or any, suppose 1, 3, 5, 7. So if you add this, what will come? 3 plus 1, 4 plus 5, 9 plus 7 will give you 16. And there are 4 terms, therefore 4 square equals to 16. Therefore if you take n terms, the sum is n square. So using this formula, we will find the sum of this. This is quite a handy formula, which you will also find to be of good use in your further progression in mathematics, especially in the chapter of sequence and series. So now let us take x common in this. If you take x common, it will come 1 plus 3 plus 5 up to 29. So now you need to find that how many terms are there. For this we will use of arithmetic progression. In AP we know the formula that an equals n minus 1 into d. So if 29 is your an term and your first term is 1, you need to find n, and then the common difference is 2. See, in 3 minus 1 2, 5 minus 3 2, so the common difference is 2. So this will go over here and it will come 28. You divide it by 2, it will become 14, and add 1 over there, so n will become 15. Therefore the sum of this is 15 square. This is x into 15 square, and what is square is 225x. Therefore if you do, dy by dx will come out to be 225. So this is the answer to the question above. Now let us take an example of the second rule, that is the product rule. Suppose the question is differentiate y with respect to x, where y is x ln x. So here x and ln x are multiplied. So what you will do, we will use the product rule, that is the differentiation of uv. So you differentiate both the sides to x. In this, we need to first hold any of those two constant and differentiate the other. So let us keep x constant first and differentiate ln x plus. Now the other one has to be taken constant and the previous one has to be differentiated. You have to differentiate x. So it will become x. The differentiation of ln x, as I told you earlier, is 1 by x. Ln x into differentiation of x is 1. So it will become 1 plus ln x. So this is the answer to the question above. Example number 5. Example number 5 says us that find dy by dx. The question is same. Here y is x square sine inverse x. So we differentiate both sides with respect to x. Dy by dx equals to d by dx of x square sine inverse. Now as for the product rule, we keep one constant and differentiate the other term. So we take x square constant and differentiate sine inverse x. Sine inverse x plus. Now we take sine inverse constant and differentiate x square. So x square into the differentiation of sine inverse x is 1 by root over 1 minus the square plus sine inverse x into the differentiation of x square is 2x. Therefore this is the final result, x square by root over 1 minus x square plus 2x sine inverse x. This is the answer. Now let us move on to the next rule, that is the quotient rule. Let me write the formula once again for your quick reference. D by dx of u by v. First we need to keep the denominator constant and differentiate the numerator, that is v u by dx minus. Now keep the numerator constant and differentiate the denominator divided by the denominator. This minus sign is very important. We often neglect it and we commit a mistake. So keep this in mind, dx minus u dv by dx by v square. So now let me give you a very basic example to this, example number 6 I guess. So the question is y equals to x by x square plus 1. A very basic example to understand this. Now if you do dy by dx on both sides, keep the denominator constant, that is write it like this, x square plus 1, and now differentiate the numerator. If you differentiate x, what will come? 1. Here the numerator is x. Keep this constant and differentiate the basic one, 2x, and the differentiation of 1 is 0. Therefore 2x plus 0 by the denominator's whole square, x square plus 1's whole square. It will come x square plus 1 minus 2x square by x square plus 1 whole square. So this will result 1 minus x square by x square plus 1. So this is the answer to the question above. Now let us see example number 7 based on the same quotient rule. Example number 7. Y equals to log x base a. Find dy by dx. If your answer is 1 by x, then you are wrong, because the formula we have learned earlier, that the d by dx of ln x equals to 1 by x, this is correct. But ln x and log x are different, because for a log the base is also very important. The base is a matter of concern. Suppose it is written log x base a and log x base e, both things are different. When the base is e, usually we write this as ln x. If someone says ln x, it is predefined that the base of this log is e. But if the base is defined and it is not e, then the differentiation is not just directly 1 by x. So how shall we encounter it? Let me show you. See, from the property of log, for example, if it is given that log a base b, this can be written as log a by log b. But both the base has to be same, that if you keep it base e and base e, then this thing is absolutely correct. So we do the same thing over here. We transform it as log x base e divided by log a base e. So now this has converted into a question of quotient rule format. So now if you differentiate it, you have 1 by log a base e and directly log x base e. You may use quotient rule, or otherwise you may do it directly. Directly it will be easier, so I am skipping the quotient rule over here. You may do the quotient rule. You may keep this constant, differentiate the other, then put a minus sign, keep this constant, differentiate this, divided by this whole square. That will be a little bit tedious. But as this thing is constant, because it is a, it will give always a fixed value. Therefore, we can separate it from differentiation. So now if you differentiate dy by dx, it will become 1 by log a base e into 1 by x. The differentiation of log x base e is 1 by x. So this many people remember as a separate formula also, but you can derive it at any instant you want, so that you don't have to memorize much. Now let us take another basic but interesting example. If you remember, initially I have shown you a list of 10 formulas and I have sorted out 4 to 5 important formulas out of them. But I did tell over that tan x isn't as important as sin x and cos x. If you forget the differentiation of tan x, you need not go to the first principle. You aren't helpless. You can solve it if you know the differentiation of sin x and cos x. But although with gradual practice, tan x will also become a part and parcel of your daily formula regime. But let me show you how to derive it if you forget in case. Example number 8. Y equals to tan x. Now, in our junior classes, we have already learned that tan x can be written as sin x by cos x. So now you can see this differentiation question has transformed into a differentiation question of quotient rule, and we know the differentiation of sin x and cos x very well, so we can proceed with it. Dy by dx equals to, keep the denominator constant cos x, differentiate the numerator. The differentiation of sin x is cos x, minus, keep the numerator constant, differentiate the denominator. The differentiation of cos x is minus sin x. I always emphasize on this minus sign because initially I also used to commit a mistake on this minus sign, divided by the denominator's whole square. So if you solve it further, this is cos square x, minus minus will convert into plus. So cos square x plus sin square x by cos square x. Now cos square x plus sin square x is a very well known identity and the value of it is 1. Therefore 1 by cos square x, and 1 by cos square x can be written as sec square x. Therefore the differentiation of tan x is sec square x, which can be derived in a way other than first principle also. Now let us see one different type of example of differentiation, which will include several types of rules, but it's quite different from the previous ones we have learned. Suppose someone gives you that example number 9, differentiate y equals to x power x. The base is also a variable and the power is also a variable. We know the differentiation of e power x, where the base is constant, the power is variable. Okay. We also know the differentiation of x power n, where the base is a variable but the power is a constant. But what if both the base and the power are variable? There's a different way to tackle it. For this, initially you have to take log on both sides. So taking log on both sides, log y equals to log x power x. And by the property of log, the power comes outside. I hope you are quite familiar with the basic terminologies of logarithm. If you are not, comment down below and I shall make a short video on the basic properties of log, as it is also used in the 11-12 studies of physics, chemistry and mathematics. So the x will come out like this, and x log x, and the LHS is log y. Now you need to differentiate both sides with respect to x. If you differentiate log y with respect to x, the scenario is a little different from what we have seen up till now. First, it will come 1 by y. Now you need to differentiate the y also, dy by dx. You will understand this better in the next example, the use of chain rule. Now you have to differentiate the RHS, keep x constant, differentiate log x. It is base E predefined, that is ln x to be more specific, plus keep log x constant, differentiate x. So it becomes 1 plus log x. Therefore, dy by dx equals to y into 1 plus log x. And what is y? Y is x power x. Therefore, x power x into 1 plus log x. This is your answer. Just by seeing the definition of chain rule, you may not have got the exact feel that what is it. Well, with this example, I hope that you will get quite a much of feel that what is chain rule. Chain rule, I will repeat, that is very important for further differentiation, especially physics, in mathematics, in integration too. When you further improve upon your calculus journey, it will be used in integration also. Therefore, chain rule is a thing you must master upon. So now let me show you one example. Suppose example number 10. It is given that y equals to log sin x. Find dy by dx. Till now we had either log x or sin x or log x into sin x, but this is log of sin x. This is a composite function. What value sin will generate first, that value will be taken as an input for the log function, and then log function will give out a output. To make things simple, let me substitute and show you things easily. Say that u equals to sin x. Okay, let us take the variable u equals to sin x. Therefore, y becomes log u. Okay, you can write it that y equals to log u. Now you need to find dy by dx. dy by dx. I have shown you initially that you can write it as dy u into du by dx. You can differentiate this thing, of course base is e. You can differentiate this thing with respect to u, it will become 1 by u. That is very simple, right? So now you differentiate it with respect to x overall. Dy by dx equals to d by dx of ln u or log u base e. Now you transform the thing little differently for your convenience. Ln u by du, du by dx. So the differentiation of ln u with respect to u is 1 by u into the differentiation of u with respect to x. What is therefore the differentiation of sin x with respect to x is cos x. Now you substitute the u again, as the final answer must not include u because this is the variable you have chosen for your convenience, but the final answer must have the components given in the original question. Therefore you have to substitute u with sin x. Therefore it will become 1 by sin x into cos x. So this can be written as cot x. This is the answer to the question above. Well, we tend to learn new techniques only after knowing that how efficient are they or how much steps they can reduce. So let me show you one very small example which will show you how efficient the chain rule is. I will do the same sum without using chain rule and with chain rule. You will notice the difference yourself, and you will also want to be indulged into the way of chain rule in your further sums. Let me show you first without using chain rule. The question is find dy by dx, example number 11 of course. Find dy by dx where y is sin 2x. Okay, find dy by dx. Now sin 2x, you have learned in trigonometry, you can break it into sin x and cos x, right? You can write it as 2 sin x cos x, right? So now this has transformed into question of product rule. You can differentiate both sides very easily. 2 is a constant, so you will keep it outside. Dy by dx sin x into cos x. Now you keep sin x constant, differentiate cos x, so it will give you a sin x minus sin x, plus you take cos x constant, differentiate the sin x, it will give you a cos x. So this transformed into 2 cos square x minus sin square x. And what is it? You have learnt in trigonometry earlier that this is actually cos 2x. 2 cos 2x. So this is the final answer. But now the same sum using chain rule. Use chain rule. Let me show you how we will use it. Dy by dx equals to d by dx of sin 2x. See, as you are just beginning, I will break down the steps so that it will be easier for you to understand, but this can be done in just a single line. But I will just break it down to make it simpler for you. If you take d by d2x sin 2x into d by dx of 2x, you can write this. I have shown you in the chain rule earlier. So what is the differentiation of sin 2x with respect to 2x? It is simply cos 2x. Like the differentiation of sin x with respect to x is cos x, therefore if both the places have 2x, it will become cos 2x, as simple as it. Now the differentiation of 2x, very simple, 2. So this becomes 2 cos 2x. So neither you have to remember what is the formula of sin 2x, what is the formula of cos 2x in this sum, or nor you have to break so many steps down. You can just simply do it in a single line. That is the power of chain rule, and we must use it for our convenience. Let's take the next example. Example number 12. Y equals to sin square x. You might be thinking that did I forget to show you this example earlier in the product rule? Of course not. You can do this by the use of product rule, but that will be a bit tedious. You can solve these all sums by using chain rules very easily. So now I will show you by doing a little bit of shortcut. I will not break so many steps, but I will show you the way of approach that you must follow usually. Sin square x. So we see that this is a term which has a power. Usually what we do in x power n, that we bring down n and reduce the power of x by 1. The same we will do over here. We will bring down 2 and we will reduce the power of sin x by 1. It was initially 2, we reduce the power to 1. Now we differentiate the internal thing. It is sin x, so the differentiation of sin x will give you cos x. So the differentiation of sin square x is 2 sin x cos x, or in short sin 2x. Now I will also show you this same sum by using the product rule. You will understand the difference. Let y be sin square x. So you now d by dx of sin square x, or just sin x. Now you take sin x constant, differentiate another sin x, this becomes cos x, plus you keep this sin x constant, differentiate this sin x, it becomes cos x. So sin x cos x plus sin x cos x will give you 2 sin x cos x. Well, it works that's why it may seem to you that these two processes are quite same, but suppose if it is sin cube x, sin to the power 4x, sin to the power 5x, then you will understand the real power of chain rule. So I will always suggest that if chain rule is applicable, use chain rule. It will always be very efficient and you will commit less mistakes in it. Now let us see another example of chain rule. Example number 13. Y is ax square plus bx plus c whole square. Differentiate this with respect to x. You do dy by dx. Initially I told you to treat this just like x power n. You have to go from outside to inside stepwise. Initially you take it as an exponential term. So this 2 comes down and the power of this thing reduces by 1. It becomes power 1. Now you differentiate the internal thing, ax square plus bx plus c, and this has to be multiplied along with it. So if you differentiate ax square, this will become 2ax, plus if you differentiate bx, it will become b, and the differentiation of c, as it is a constant, will become 0. So the differentiation of this is 2 into 2ax plus b into ax square plus bx plus c. That's the answer. Now let us see another example of chain rule, which is quite interesting and it will clear up your concepts further, which is differentiation of y with respect to x, where y is e to the power root over tan x. Okay, so you differentiate both sides with respect to x. First you treat this like e power x. I told you in chain rule, go from outside to inside stepwise. First you treat this like e power x. So the differentiation of e power x is e power x. So this will become e power root over tan x. Okay. Now go inside. When you cross this, you find root over tan x. You need to differentiate root over tan x. So the differentiation of root over tan x will be 1 by 2 into root over tan x. Now go even inside. What do you find? You find tan x. So differentiate tan x. What is the differentiation of tan x? It is sec square x. Now go even inside. What do you find? X. And with this you multiply of x. That is 1. So your answer is e to the power tan x sec square x by 2 root tan x. If you are wondering how the differentiation of root over tan x is this one, then let me tell you that the differentiation of root over x is 1 by 2 root x. This is simply done using the formula of x power n, because here the power of x is half. So half comes down and x gets reduced by the power of 1. So this becomes minus half. So it is 1 by 2 x to the power minus half. So you do the reciprocal and it becomes 1 by 2 root x. Just similarly, we have used this over here. So this is the answer to the question above. In the previous examples, we have studied functions in which y was only expressed in terms of x without complication. They were known as explicit functions. As you can see that y equals to log x, y equals to sin x and y are separate. But if the relation between the variables x and y are given by an equation and this equation is not immediately solvable for y, then y is called an implicit function of x. In this condition, we need to differentiate and bring the dy by dx terms on a separate side and then find the answer. It may seem complicated to hear it the first time, but when I will solve it, it will not seem so. So let's solve this example. Y equals to x cos y plus y cos x. Y equals to x cos y plus y cos x. You differentiate both the sides. Dy by dx equals to, you keep x constant, differentiate cos y is minus sin dy by dx, plus you constant differentiate x, it becomes into 1. Now the next term y cos x, keep y constant and differentiate cos x, it becomes minus sin x, plus keep cos x constant and differentiate y, it becomes dy by dx. So now if you bring the dy by dx terms on the left hand side, this thing looks like that. Dy by dx, you take this common 1 minus this cos x is plus in the right hand side, but when it will go to the left hand side, it will convert to minus cos x. This is negative in the right hand side, so it will go there and become positive, plus x sin y equals to cos y minus y sin x. So now just bring this to the denominator position and we will be getting your answer. Dy by dx equals to cos y minus y sin x by 1 minus cos x plus x sin y. So this is your final answer. This is known as implicit function differentiation. Just the things are same, just as you saw. At the last step, you need to bring the dy by dx to one side and keep them on the other side. Then you take out the answer separately. This is it. In your books, you may find another category of differentiation, that is the differentiation of infinite series. The name seems very overwhelming, but if you follow the steps carefully, I think the thing isn't so complicated as it sounds. Let me show you an example. Suppose it is given that y equals to root over log x plus root over log x plus root over log x, and so on up to infinity. So this is an infinite. So how do you tackle it? Well, if you find y that it is root over log x plus root over log x plus root over log x, if you hide this thing doesn't seem familiar. Of course, it is the y itself. So you can write y in a different way. Y equals to root over log x plus y. So the question is quite simplified. Now you need to differentiate both sides and you will find your dy by dx. So what you will do? Will you differentiate it directly? I think it will become complicated. If you square both sides and then differentiate, the thing will be a bit simpler. So y square equals to log x plus y. In this we will again use chain rule. I told you chain rule is very important. Y square, the differentiation of y square is 2y dy by dx equals to log x, the basis. So dy by dx is 2y minus 1 equals to 1 by x. Therefore dy by dx equals to 1 by x into 2y minus 1. So this was it. This is the differentiation of infinite series. Not as difficult as it sounds, right? Now let us solve one of the last types left, that is the differentiation of one function with respect to another function. Okay, suppose you are given that differentiate sin x with respect to cos x. Yes, in the previous examples we were differentiating sin x with respect to x usually, but it is given that differentiate sin x with respect to cos x, that is find the rate of change of sin x with respect to cos x. Okay, so you give these two terms a different variable. For example, let y equals to sin x and let z equals to cos x. So you are asked to find dy by dz. Well, directly it is tough to do, but if you break it down, it is very simple. Dy by dz can be of course written as dy by dx, dz by dx. Of course we can, and this is the main crux of the story. We are very comfortable to differentiate it with respect to x. Differentiate sin x with respect to x is cos x. Differentiate z with respect to x, that is minus sin x. Therefore dy by dz is equal to this by this, that is cos x by minus sin x. It becomes minus cot x. So simple, isn't it? So this is the last subtopic of differentiation, which is higher order derivatives. Suppose you are given y equals to sin x and you are asked that what is y double dash or what is f double dash x. F double dash x is nothing, just 2 times you have to differentiate this thing with respect to x. So for 2 times we need to first begin with our first order derivative. So if you do it, dy by dx, it will give you cos x. Now you need to differentiate this again with respect to x. So dy by dx of dy by dx. What is the differentiation of cos x? It is minus sin x. And this thing is written as d2y by dx square equals to minus sin x. So this is your answer of the double derivative of sin x. This double derivative has used in physics as well. In especially in the chapter of SHM, you will find that the standard equation of SHM is actually a equation involving double degree differentiation. So you need to keep this thing handy. So here we have another example of double differentiation. Suppose you are given y equals to x cube ln x. You are asked that what is y double dash. First you need to do the first order differentiation. Dy by dx equals to, keep this constant, differentiate this one, plus keep ln x constant, differentiate x cube. X cube differentiation is 3x square. So this becomes x square plus 3x square ln x. Now you differentiate this again, d2y by dx square. This becomes 2x plus 3. Now keep x square constant, differentiate ln x, it will give you 1 by x plus, now keep ln x constant and differentiate x square, it will give you 2x. So this becomes 2x plus 3x plus 6x ln x. So the final answer is 5x plus 6x ln x. So that is the end of this subtopic as well. Thank you for holding on so long.